Good
How
morning.
do I, how do I get back to you?
Hold on just a minute.
My mom actually is sharing her screen, so you can just, she'll unshare it in a second.
Okay, I'm just starting the class. It's online yoga with June 22nd, 2020. This is a picture of me last year, a little over a year ago, when I had an injury to my upper back and compressed some fractures, and actually, it was actually staying at Parvin's house. But this is me doing flat back hip hinge with my walker. This is just a couple days out of my injury. I could hardly move, but I figured out how to move and you know, work the things that worked. I moved them, and I could do a flat back hip hinge.
How do I get the picture back? I'm just have this old picture. Oh, there we go. Great.
Yeah, Via controls that.
Okay. I am going to spotlight Kathy. I am going to, can someone mute everybody? Or can one of the co-hosts mute everybody? Besides me, so I don't have to figure that out. Or maybe I'm gonna have to ask you all to mute yourself.
Try to mute everybody.
Can you guys mute everybody? Then we're
Via, I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to start in the regular fashion on the floor, supine. So lying on your back, just starting to breathe and slow down. Slow down and notice your breath. Your legs could be up on a couch or a chair. Let's do some, before we do vagus nerve reset, let's do some Viloma breathing. This is becoming my favorite, but I think because they say, and I believe, that it strengthens the lung capacity, which I think we all can use right now. So your exhale is the same, is an ordinary exhale. Your inhale is divided into 3 parts. The first part, you inhale and you fill the first 1/3 of your lungs. You pause and then inhale again and fill the second third of your lungs. Pause. Inhale again, fill the last third of your lungs. Pause and then exhale. So Viloma breathing. Finish up, one more breath. Bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, resting the occipital ridge, the bottom of the back of your skull in your hands. without moving anything but your eyeballs. Shift your eyeballs to the right. And wait for an involuntary swallow, sigh, gulp, or yawn. And then come back to center. Shift your eyeballs to the left. Nothing else moves. Your eyes can be open or closed. And there you wait for an involuntary sigh, yawn, swallow, or gulp. And do that 2 more sets, right, left, right, left. I'm going to go close my front door. And when you're finished with vagus nerve reset, stay in the position you're in and move to head ramping. So this is a simple movement where you're just pressing the back of your skull into the floor. Press and then release. So when you press down and hold, you can hold for a few seconds. Your chin drops, your nose drops, but they drop because of the movement you've done with your skull. And you can repeat that 2 or 3 more times. I hope your body is telling you during the day sometimes that you need this, because this is really a restorative pose for the neck. Neck and the neck muscles, and for forward head posture, reversing that. You could do this seated also. You can do this without hands. As long as you're doing the tuck, not from the chin, but from the back of the skull. Gloria, we are doing the head ramping. So just lying on your back, look at Kathy, lie on your back and press the back of your skull in to the floor or your hands. And stop that, everyone. Sorry, Gloria. And we're going to do a hypopressive. This is core and pelvic floor work. We're going to do the bridge. So your arms are at your side, your heels are on the floor, your toes are dorsiflex toward the ceiling. You're going to take 3 breaths, 3 ordinary breaths, and then at the end of the third breath, hold your breath out, no breath while I count to 10. And lift your hips up. Thank you, Kathy. Lift your hips up and your arms overhead at the same time as you start to hold your breath. So that's the trajectory. Now here's the move. So I'm gonna cue you through 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, last exhale. Hold your breath out, lift your hips, bring your arms overhead. 1, 2, keep holding your breath out. 3, 4, 5, stay as long as you can. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, the hips come down, the arms come back to the side of the hips. And we're gonna do that one more time. If it's hard for you to lift your hips up, you can put a brick under your hips or lift them up and keep them up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath, inhale. Exhale. Hold your breath out, lift your hips, bring your arms overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, and then exhale. Bring your arms down and your hips down. Nice work, everybody. Now we're going to grab your brick or sponge ball and put it between your thighs. We're going to stay supine for actually the next couple sets, the next couple triplets. So make it wider, make it the middle. Yes, that's the ones. So, and then we're going to switch to thinner later. So you're going to bring your heels as close to your hips as you can and press the brick between your thighs and then rock your knees from side to side. It's just rock and roll and do it slowly and with awareness. Just you're releasing and resetting the pelvis. Be sure to press on the brick. And then go ahead and come back to center and change the brick width to the narrowest side of the brick. Squeeze again, squeeze. Keep your heels as close to your buttocks as you can get them and rock from side to side. Come back to center, remove the brick or the block, same thing, and tie a strap, a yoga strap around your legs, around your thighs, just below your knees. And make it pretty snug. This time, we're going to do the same movement, but this time you're pressing out into the straps. Drop your heels. Drop your heels to the floor, Kathy. Bring them as close to your buttocks as you can. And now, pushing out on the straps, rock and roll from side to side. This is should feel differently. And come back to center and go ahead and bring your knee, make a circle with your knees. So the knees come towards your chest and then to the left or right and then out a little bit. There, so keep going. Your feet are off the floor. It's a circle with the pelvis. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then reverse it. You can still be pressing out on your strap. You could do this with the brick as well, but you would be pressing in then. And then finish that. Bring your feet to the floor, and you're going to do a bridge. You're with the strap around your legs, and you're going to lift your hips up toward the ceiling. If you need to, you can put a block under your hips. Press out on your strap, and then just roll your head from side to side. You're not moving the bridge. The bridge just stays there. This is not looking left, right. This is more of a little, more of a moon-shaped, quarter moon-shaped movement. And then stop moving your head and then drop your hips and take the strap away. We'll move in. That was the first triplet for the hips. Someone, is she here? Kathleen asked for hips. So I thought I would give her some hips. So most of today is hips. We're going to do leg stretch 1, 2, and 3. This is one leg, left and right, one leg at a time. We're going to start with the right leg. Bring your right leg. You need a strap for this, unless you can actually reach your big toe. These are also called big toe stretches. But otherwise, your strap is actually just a little ahead of the instep. Leg up in the air, right leg up in the air. You may want to put a couple towels under your head. And the left leg is straight, unless that's uncomfortable for you, then you can bend it. You're just going to stay here and breathe and bring the right foot toward your head without lifting the buttocks, so that the butt and the pelvis stay on the floor. This is absolutely a flexion at the hip. So think of what's happening on the inside of your body and the outside of your body. And take some breaths here. We're going to stay on this side and do the other two movements as well, leg stretch 2 and 3. So the second stretch is to just take your leg, your right leg out to the right. So you want to put your straps in one hand, in the left hand, I believe. And then drop it out to the right. Keep your buttocks on the floor, both buttocks. So you may or may not be able to come. So Kathy, do you need something under your head?
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. So the legs going out to the side, it may or may not hit the floor, especially because I'm asking that the left hip stay on the floor.
Oh. Okay.
So your right leg only comes out as far as you can do that without lifting the left hip. Just stay here and breathe. And you could put a block under your foot, your right foot, if you wanted to. Come on back up to center. This time, you're going to move the right leg across the body to the left. The bottom hip scoots back behind itself so that you can stack the two hips. So this time, the hips are not on the floor. Instead, they're side by side. One's on the bottom and one's on right above it. And then once again, keep your shoulders on the floor. And breathe. Leg stretches, 1, 2, and 3. Come on back. Switch sides. Leg stretch number 1. Leg is straight up to the ceiling. The hip stays on the floor. The leg flexes forward at the hip. Think of what is happening on the inside of the hip, at the joint, at the head of the femur. And the acetabulum, which is the little socket in the pelvis that the femur sits in. So the femur is rocking forward, flexion forward. Just stay here and breathe. And then go ahead and take that leg out to the left. You'll want to put your straps in one hand. Remember, the hips stay side by side on the floor. Nice, very nice. You may not be able to get your leg out as far as Kathy's. Don't go too far. Listen to your own body. This is a rotation of the femur, the head of the femur in the joint. Come all the way back up. And then come over, across the body. Remember, the hips are now stacked one on top of the other. The bottom hip rolls back behind itself. And still try to keep the shoulders on the floor. Shoulders on the floor. This left leg goes across the body. Can you scoot your bottom hip back a little bit, Kathy? Okay. And just stay here and breathe. One more breath. And bring yourself back up. And take the strap away and lower your leg. And come up to seated, floor seated. In a cow face pose, which is stacked knees. Forward, they're pointing forward, they're stacked. You may want to sit on a brick or a blanket. Very nice. This is called cow face. We're going to do we're not going to do the traditional, there's a shoulder or an arm movement with it that goes with cow face. We're not going to do that one. We're going to do something I like better. I think it's actually more beneficial. Bring your arms straight out in front of you with the palms back to back, palms back to back, palms back to back. And now take the right hand up and over and hold hands, clasp your hands. No, Kathy.
This way?
Yeah. Mhm. So let's do it so that palms are back to back, the hands back to back. Let's start over. Hands back to back. One hand raises up and crosses and clasps. And now take your hands down, take the knuckles down towards the floor and then up towards your chest. Try to sit tall and be here. And if you'd like to, if you can drop your arms, drop your wrists lower than they were. You may or may not be able to accomplish that. This is great for the wrists, I think, and for the hands. Stay in good posture. Did you get that, Anne? Do you want me to go over it again for you? Hold on. Can you mute? And go to the other side, you guys. So start again. This time the other hand comes up, clasp, and then go down. And up. I think I'm going to try to show this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it any better than Kathy, but I can see that it's confusing for some people.
I can see that too.
Yeah. So your hands are, I like this. I wonder if it would be better if I do like this. And then one hand goes up, crosses over the other one, clasps. You're clasping the hands now. See what that looks like? You're clasping, and then come down and up like this. My feet are not right, so my feet were not in cow face pose. So ignore that. Ignore my feet. And let's go back to Kathy. I don't know whether that helped or not, but so yeah, back to back, start back to back. One hand goes up, over, and clasp. So, and then down and up. So I hope you've changed sides on your feet, your knees also. Did you get that, Dana? I'm looking at people and not sure that everyone's getting it.
No, I can't do my right leg that way because of my hip.
Okay, so you would do another pose then.
I can do it on this side, I think.
Don't do it on either side. You have hip replacement on both sides.
Okay.
Don't do it on either side. Do a cross-legged pose instead. And come on out of that, you guys. And now find your favorite seated pose. It could be cross-legged. It could be hero's pose. You could stay in cow face. You could be in, I think a Z is going to be hard because we're going to do a flat back hip hinge from a floor seated position. So actually, and we're going to put our hands behind our back. So I recommend that's a good position, a hero's pose, kneeling. You may want to be on a brick. The thing I want you to do once you find your floor seated position is take your hands behind your back and interlace them. Yes, and straighten your arms. And then with a flat back, hip hinge forward, your arms will lift up off your back. Open your chest, Kathy, and your head. So remember, this is like a broomstick. You're like a broomstick. You're not rounding. This is one of the features of this class that won't ever get in a title is I don't round I try not to round the back because that can create herniated discs or aggravate them. And it can also create compression fractures. So keep your back flat, Kathy. Don't come down any farther than you can do. And it could be little, could be very small, because you have your hands behind your back. It could be very small. And straighten up a little, Kathy. Think of yourself as a broomstick. That's much better. That's much better. She wants to round. She wants to go farther. She can't go farther. And then go ahead and come on up and get into a cross-legged position, whatever you are in. And we're going to do a cat-cow. Put your hands, a cat-cow from a floor-seated position. Put your hands, this is as much rounding as I ever want you to do. Put your hands on your knees and then pull your belly in and round a little bit backward. The shoulders come forward and then open up, press up, press your hands. So press your hands, keep your hands straight, Kathy. Keep your hands straight and press forward and open your chest. Okay, and then round forward. Can you do it sideways so people can see the movement? This is a fairly small movement from a seated position. So round a little, the belly button pulls in, and then open up and use your hands on your knees to help you do this. So round, cat, which is the cow, which is the cat, which is the cow. But one time your belly button is coming back behind you, and the other time the belly button's coming forward a little, back extension. So back extension, and then forward, round a little bit, not much. It's more like pulling in the belly than rounding a lot. Pulling in the belly and then coming back. So do that a couple more times. Cat cow from a floor seated position. And then come up to standing with a therapy ball nearby. And I'd like you to, we're going to balance on one foot. If you want to do tree pose, you can do it. We're just going to do the classic one that we do in this class without a tree pose, without rotating the hip. So you're standing near a chair or a wall. You need to have a safety point because this is a balancing movement. So you need to have a safety point. If you were in the grocery store, you could put your hands on the grocery cart. So the first thing Kathy's going to do is I'm going to time this 30 seconds, right? Hold on.
What are you doing with the ball?
Oh, the ball comes later.
Oh.
We're not doing anything with the ball right now. This is a balancing movement. Standing on one foot, balancing on one foot. So take the right leg and bend the right knee up. And see, I'm going to start and see if you can hold for 30 seconds. So remember, you can do a yoga tree if you'd like, yoga tree. Breathing, good posture, balance. Your hands will help you out. Switch sides. Notice that your hands, and there's an inner mechanism that triggers too. If you want to make this harder, close your eyes. Go ahead and start on the other side. Left knee is lifted. Breathe. This is a good thing to do anytime you get a chance, standing on one leg instead of two. Let's do the same thing again, only this time close your eyes if you want to challenge. Otherwise, just stay where you were. Right leg, right knee. So see if you can do this without touching your safe point. But if you need to, go ahead and touch your safe point. Closed eyes. You should feel the mechanism that's inside your body that helps you do this. Switch sides. Close your eyes if you dare. And we'll get started. This also helps you come to trust this inner mechanism that helps you balance. Because you're much more aware of it when your eyes are closed. If you want to challenge yourself at home practice, you can time for 60 seconds. Now we're going to I want you behind a chair. We're going to do heel lifts, and we'll do them plain. We'll do them with a therapy ball between the heels. So you could also be standing with your hands on a counter or near a counter. You can do this. This could be a balancing pose. Don't put the therapy ball there yet, Kathy. Let's do it later. Okay, parallel feet, parallel toes. And then all you're going to do is stand in good posture and lift your heels and lower them. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Do it slow with some breath and some awareness of breath, awareness of movement. And now, if you choose, if you have a therapy ball, put it between your heels, at the back of the heels, as far back as you can get it. And from there, lift the heels. Can you get it back a little farther, Kathy? I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay, good. Two more times. And stop. And this time we're going to do short foot, which is a standing or could be a seated pose actually. Pose that is very subtle, but is good for flat feet, plantar fasciitis, ankle strength. So your feet are parallel and forward. Bring your toes, big toes, a little closer to each other, Kathy. Nice. We're going to do right leg and then left leg. So the first thing you do is lift your toes and spread them. And then lower them to the floor and press into the floor with the toe pads. Don't use the metatarsals on the toes, just the toe pads. You should feel the bottom arch that runs from the front and the foot to the back of the foot activate. And then just release. And then do the other side. toes lift and spread. And then they come down, press on the toe pads. And stay. Switch sides, right leg, the toes lift, spread. They lower, press, and see if you can feel evenness between the big toe and the little toe. And that's working also so you're working the arch front to back and another arch that goes from the big toe to the little toe. If you can find that evenness. And then go to the other side. Kathy's ahead of me. And maybe I'm talking too slow. You can go at your own pace. Kathy, can you bring your toes a little bit closer to each other? Your big toes, good. No, yeah. So our tendency when we stand is to externally rotate at the hips, but we're trying to get neutral here, neutral hips. Now, this is my favorite way to cue short foot. Short foot is a movement that's very important for balance, for ankle strength, for toes, and for that arch, plantar arch. So you could do this every day, several times a day, and benefit. Stop, short foot. And find your way onto the floor and onto all fours. Quadruped. We're going to do this modified warrior's pose from a quadruped position. So really, basically, you're going to bring yourself into a lunge and then into the warrior's pose, warrior one pose, with your arms overhead by your ears, overhead arms, basically. Let's see if we can see Kathy's arms when she comes up. So you start on all fours, then you bring your right leg forward into a lunge.
Gotta adjust.
Yeah, good. Into a lunge. And now bring your torso up over your hips. Nice, and the arms overhead. Can you bring your arms back a little farther, Kathy? Maybe? And you can look up. You can look up toward the ceiling. You don't want to hyperextend your neck, but you can look up a little bit. And just stay here and breathe. Warrior one. This is on a bended knee, basically. Warrior one, bended knee. And then go ahead and come down. And we're going to come down to right where you are, Kathy, because we're going to stay here and do one other thing that's a psoas stretch from a lunging position. So because we're here, now all you're going to do is just bring your right knee forward and your left hip forward. Keep your back in good posture. Nice, and then come back. So where you're going to feel this, I hope, is tell me where you feel it, and I'll see where do you feel this mostly, Kathy?
Well, I feel it here.
Yeah.
Here.
Do you feel it in the front left hip, front of the thigh, up toward the groin? That's where I want you to feel it. Maybe bring your knee a little farther out, and now come there. Maybe you can feel it now more.
Yeah.
That's where you're looking. That's where I'm looking for you to feel it. This is a psoas stretch, a psoas release, and then come on back to the starting position, and then just come on forward. So keep your torso over your hips. You're not leaning forward on this one. And then come on back. Just do it a couple more times. Feel as if you're pushing your back foreleg into the floor. And then back and forth you go. And you may need a chair beside you. So just so you know that, or you may need something to hold on to make this pose manageable. And then go to the other side. And remember, we're going to do the warrior on this side first. So going to come up, get into good posture, arms overhead, look up a little. You're going to find a back extension here. Nice breathing. If you need a chair for help, you could put one hand on a chair and one arm up in the air. From here, go ahead and move into the psoas stretch, release, and you're just going to come forward, press your bottom back leg into the floor, come back, and feel like you're working that leg as you go back and forth.
I really feel it on this side.
Okay, good. There aren't very many comfortable ways to release the psoas, so this is a good one. One more. Make sure that your front leg is out far enough to find this stretch. If you have long legs, you want to have your front leg further forward. Come on back, you guys, and come down onto the floor for the prone back extension. Lying on your belly. I try to do this one every class. You can almost count on it. Not quite, but almost. Because I think it's so good for the upper back. If you have osteoporosis or osteopenia, just know, this is one of the things I did when I hurt my back last year. I did some research, and I'm trying to reverse my osteoporosis, but this reduces the risk of falls. This movement reduces the risks of falls, helps with your balance and your posture. And it builds strength along the back extensors, so that even if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, the extensors are helping you do the job that the spine does, basically. Go ahead and take an inhale. And exhale, lift, arms, chest, head. And stay here for a breath. Maybe go up a little higher, maybe not. If it bothers your lower back, don't go any higher. And then inhale, and then exhale and return to the floor. We're going to do 2 more levels, but you could stay at this level. We're going to do airplane, arms out of the side, and then superwoman, arms up by the ears. Take an inhale. And exhale, lift the chest. Inhale, level 2, exhale, arms out to the side, or stay where you were. Inhale, come on up a little if you want, or if you can. Not if it involves the lower back though. And then inhale and exhale and come on back down. If this goes into your lower back, make the move smaller or come out of it altogether. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift, arms, chest, head. Inhale. Exhale, arms out in airplane. Inhale. Exhale, arms up by the ears. Stay here. Breathe. Nice job. Inhale. Exhale, arms to the side and then out, down by the hips. You have to take your arms back way out to airplane to get them around your body, down to the floor. Nice work, everybody. We're going to do this thoracic stretch that I often do right after this back work because it's a nice complement and because it also works on the upper back, even though we're moving our legs. Arms out in an airplane. Keep your arms and your armpits on the floor, please. Look to the right. Take your right leg up and over the left. Hover and stay here. If you cannot do this, if it hurts your lower back at any degree, just keep your leg on the floor and squeeze your buttocks. Just squeeze your glutes, squeeze your glutes. Otherwise, stay here and breathe. You're releasing some tightness and immobility in the upper back. Come on back. Other side, look left. Lift your left leg. Bring it over. Remember, if this bothers your back at all, don't do it at all. Stay here, instead in place and squeeze your glutes. But if you're here and hovering, stay here and keep your armpits, your arms, and your chest on the floor. Breathe. Frida likes this pose. She's telling me. Come on back. One more time, look right. Lift your right leg. Bring it over, across, over, towards the other leg, behind the other leg. Remember the alternative if this move bothers your lower back. Some people will like bending their knee, the top leg and knee, and try to get the foot down on the floor. Play around with that if it appeals to you. Come on back, switch sides, look left, lift the left leg, take it over, behind you, behind the other leg. Stay here. And come back. Find your way onto your back for Yoga Nidra. Find a comfortable position, supine position. Your legs can be extended or bent. Your legs could be up on a chair. You could have a washcloth covering your face. You could have a blanket covering your body. I'm going to lead you through a 61-point guided meditation, asking you to move your attention to various body parts that I mentioned, 61 of them, without moving your body. So starting with your breath, noticing, paying attention to your breath, and observing the in-breath and the out-breath. And then bringing your awareness to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This completes our 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. I'm going to unmute everybody if I can. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to ask you to do that. And come on, wiggle and stretch first before you come up. You don't have to unmute yet. Wiggle and stretch, wiggle your legs, stretch your arms overhead by your ears. See if you can find some space, more space in the middle of your body. At your belly button. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then hug your right knee to your chest or your left. And then the other knee. And then rock from side to side, both knees. And then roll on over to your side. And stay here for a breath. And then use your top hand to bring yourself up to seated, into a floor seated position. Your favorite one. Everyone unmute themselves so that we can say namaste together. Arvin, can you unmute yourself? Anne, unmute yourself. Good. Bring your hands to your heart. Press on your hand palms. And then take your skull, the base of your skull, and just roll it forward over the top of your cervical spine. C1, C2. Bowing to each other, honoring each other, respecting each other. We're going to close the class by saying to each other, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to record. You can stay.